What up, YouTube? Welcome to our newest series that we're working on. We're going to try out here. We're going to call this one Picking 101. And what we're going to do in this series is we're going to go and we're going to break down the basics of picking for beginners, people who are just starting, or even people who've been doing it for a while that might just want a refresher. And we just kind of want to break it down and try to do our best to help you guys out, give you guys tips, and just to help you get the most out of your reselling experience and make the most money. So in today's episode, what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about when you first start out your eBay listings. So when you do your basic eBay listing, the first thing you're going to notice is when you first start your eBay account, you're going to have to build your way up. So I know when I first started, I have a new eBay account that I've just started about 6 months ago. I'm doing nothing with tennis shoes on that one, and I'm only at 21 listings, I think, total. I think that's about as many as it allows. It might allow me 30 for the month. But when I first started out, it only allows you 10 listings. So what I recommend when you get those first 10 listings, do those first 10 listings. Keep getting stuff listed. That way you can show eBay you are working, that you are putting stuff up there, and then eventually they'll start giving you more listings, or you can even actually call into the eBay customer service and ask them to give you more listings. If you do that, just be ready, because they're going to be asking you questions about what kind of items are you selling, where do you get these items from, that sort of thing, just so they can kind of get a general sense of what you got going on. But before you get into all that and you start, trying to get as many listings as possible, first things first, which is what this episode is going to be about today, is you got to know how to do your listing. And so the most important thing in your listing, when you look at your listing, the first thing they're going to see, obviously, is going to be your photos. I've come across a lot of listings, and I'm guilty of this myself too, and I'm just tired and honestly being kind of lazy. And he can even tell you, he's looked at a few of my listings and he's called me and texted me and he's been like, dude, you need to take those down. Your photos are blurry, they look like crap. And if you have crappy blurry photos like that, your listings, your item, generally not going to sell. So make sure your photos are crisp, clean. You can't really see it. I have a little photo set up over there for our hard goods, as they're called, all our regular items. I actually got that one, I think, off of Amazon for like 30 or 40 bucks, and it came with, I think, 3 or 4 different color backgrounds. It's just something to look into to make your photos pop. It comes with lights. Lighting is a huge thing with your photos. The more lighting you can get, like especially your natural light, it's going to make the item pop. Another thing, if you're going to do clothing, we have, if the room was a little bit cleaner, I would show it over there, but our office is messed up. But we do have a mannequin that hangs on the wall. It helps our t-shirts pop to be in kind of like a 3D. It helps the image on the shirt pop out, and it just helps your shirt sell. And it looks a lot better than just laying it on a flat surface, or just like when we first started doing the eBay listings with shirts and clothing, we didn't have a mannequin. So we would literally just hang them on a hanger and hang them up on the wall, or lay them out on the table. And they didn't look bad, but we feel like with our mannequin it can be more professional. We actually, I don't remember what happened to it. The
mic we got rid of.
The one with the legs?
Oh no, we have that, but that's getting ready to be sold.
Yeah. We had one for, we were trying pants for a while and it didn't really work out for us. But it was like female mannequin legs, so we could sell jeans. And that one actually looked pretty cool in a lot of the photos.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure that your photos are crisp and clear. If there's any defects in your item, make sure you get good pictures of them. If there's scratches, or if there's like a chip or a crack or something, make sure you get good clear images of that so the buyer knows exactly what they're getting, and they can't try to do a return and claim that the item was not as described and you lose out on a sale. Because that will kill your sales, and then the person's going to be mad, and then they're going to give you negative feedback, and that's going to be hard to work out of. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your photos and try to get as many photos as possible. It tells you you can shoot up to 12 photos for free, or you can upload. I'm pretty bad about using all 12. I think I average about 7 or 8 photos depending on what the item is. I very rarely use all 12. You can use your judgment on that one. I don't know about you. How many photos do you use?
I use about 2 or 3.
Really?
Uh-huh.
That few?
Hmm.
Come on.
No, I don't.
I'm gonna have to check and see. What else is after the photos?
Unless it's really, really. Your listing, it has to be your listing of the thing, your item. When you're listing your item, you have to describe what your item is. If it's Nike, and say they're Under Armour, and they're Steph Curry's, you got to put Under Armour Steph Curry shoes. You got to give them the specifics. You can't just put Nike shoes.
Yeah, but that to do your research on it.
Yeah.
Because like the Steph Curry shoes that I just sold, I had them as Under Armour, Steph Curry, men's Steph Curry Chinese New Year, size 11, and I actually even had they call it the art number or the style number. Another good way to go about getting a lot of detail and information for your listing, like when you're going to do your title, copy it off somebody else's. You can do the thing, you can go when you research your listing to see what it's sold for, and you can check and you can see, or not see, but it gives you the option
to sell one like this.
Yeah, it'll say sell one like this or sell yours like this. Click on that and then it'll copy all the information from that listing to a new listing page for you so you can start that listing. And then I've done it a couple times where I've actually used a listing for shoes that is the same model and the same color scheme but not the same size, and I've just edited the sizes. But when you do that, make sure when you go down, because you have your little drop downs, and you don't just change it in your title, because I've done that before where I've just changed it in the title. So the title says one size and then my description says a different size. Yeah. And then what do they call that? Because there's a thing where it gives you the option to put in all the size and everything.
Yeah, the make and model.
Yeah.
Make sure you have that.
Make sure everything reads the same, because I've had some confused buyers because I screwed up and did that. Yeah, especially with your title too. One thing I've done with my titles is I use the title, like say you're going to do a clothing item, I will actually put straight up in the title if it's pre-owned or if it's used or if it's brand new. A lot of times you'll see NWT in a listing. It means new with tags. Or you'll see, I think was it new without tags? You'll see NWOT or something.
I just put new. If I don't have tags on it, I just put new.
I'll put new without tags in the description.
Well, yeah, in the description, but I mean in the title, I'll just put new.
Yeah.
So don't take up everything.
It's the same thing with like your description. Try to give a full lengthy description as possible. Point out any defects or anything in the description. And then when you do that in the description, if there is a defect or if there is a scratch or a flaw in your item, I'll actually point up and I'll say in my description, I'll say something like the item is used, has some wear in the packaging, but the item itself is brand new. See photos above for damage. And then that way, like as long as my photos are good and they can see the damage, or they can see creases in the packaging, or if there's a scratch on a certain item or something, they'll be able to see it in that photo and they will know what they're getting. And then again too, with your description, do the same thing that's in your title. Give it the full description. Give it exactly what the item is. Like if it's like a brand new Nike Vapor, whatever size cleats they are, whatever style it is, like do all that in your description too, because you're reiterating the fact. You're reiterating what it is. Sometimes you're gonna have those items that are just gonna sell themselves and the description really won't matter, but still give it a full description. Be as descriptive as possible That will help you sell the item. And then also you can use your description um, to set your rules for your selling. You can tell them in your description, I'm accepting 14-day returns, 30-day returns. Payment is required within, generally I think it's 4 days before you open an unpaid item case. Uh, let them know what your shipping is going to be. If you're going to use priority shipping, first class. Just kind of lay everything out there for them so they know what they're going to get. That way you don't have to answer too many questions. If you're doing clothing, a big thing in your description with clothing, do your measurements.
Yes.
I'm very guilty of not doing my measurements and then having people email me or shoot me a message on eBay. Hey, what is the measurements for this t-shirt, pit to pit and collar to the bottom? Those are your two main measurements, by the way. Armpit to armpit, and then collar to the bottom of the shirt.
I have one in here.
Do? Oh,
this is best one of the measures to get.
Yeah.
Easy, stretches out.
And then retracts.
It's a tool that you have.
Yeah. Know your tools.
Yeah.
With the pants, if you're gonna do.
Boy, the shirt too, you didn't tell them the length.
Collar to the bottom.
Oh yeah, collar. I thought it was shoulder.
Is it? I always did the collar to the bottom.
Well, I do shoulder too.
Either or.
Bottom.
Either one works. With pants,
It's the inseam.
it's gonna be your inseam, and then it's gonna be, what is it? The waist, inseam.
And when you're doing your pictures on the clothing too, is take pictures of the tag so people see the size.
Yeah.
So in case you do get a thing in there saying that you messed up on your size, but the picture will say what the size is, so they don't get crossed over.
Right. And you're kind of backing yourself up when you do that. That way they can't say item not as described when you plainly put it out there that this is the size it is, this is what the tag says. Because sometimes, even it depends on the brand. Sometimes those sizes aren't correct.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, you do give the armpit, that'll give them a good measurement.
Yeah. And then you also you reduce the risk of having returns too when you have the size measurements, because then people can measure themselves, especially with women's clothing. Measurements are key with women's clothing because not every woman measures the same way.
Yeah.
And we've had a few returns. I can remember an LA Kings jersey in particular that got returned.
No, it never got returned. She
One of
kept
them
it.
did she?
No.
I thought she returned one.
Uh-uh.
No.
She kept it.
I don't know. We've sold so much stuff, it's hard to keep track. So yeah, just your measurements, know your item. Know what your item does sell for. Don't sell yourself short. Know exactly the price. Do as much research on your price as possible. Otherwise, you're going to shortchange yourself and you're going to lose out on money. I would hate to see you guys have like an item that sells for like $40 and have it listed for like $25, $30. But do keep in mind there are people that are going to try to jack their prices way up.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to contend with other sellers. I have been known to undersell or undercut sellers and list it for like literally like $1 less than somebody else just to try to snag a sale. So watch out for that. Know your like I said, know your prices. Know what your item is, because then there's going to be people that are going to try to lowball you. I can count several times where we've had $25, $30 items up on eBay and we get $5 offers on them. For instance, we had one, it was a Manchester United football jersey. We had that thing, we had it listed forever, it was a red one.
Yeah, it's still up there, $20.
And some guy kept trying to offer us like $5 for it, and it's like, we know what the item's worth, and we're not gonna lowball them, especially considering it was brand new with tags.
And know what you paid for your item.
And know what you paid.
eBay's going to take a fee.
eBay takes a 10% fee. Know that up front. eBay does take a 10% fee, so if you sell an item for $20, they're going to take $2 fee out of that. Plus, they're going to take
your monthly fee.
Well, the monthly fee is like it's the insertion fee, but that's why you want to try when you do your listings to stick within your free listings for the month. And also watch out for your emails because they are going to send you emails and offers. Like I just accepted an offer on the one with my shoes. I got 100 free listings. So utilize those free listings big time. Take advantage of those free listing offers. Sometimes they're going to offer you 500 free listings for like, what does it be like for like a week? You'll have like a week to try to take advantage of as many of those as possible to try to get stuff listed. But do know that the final value, final sale value or whatever is 10% of what the item sells for.
And PayPal too.
And then PayPal does take
$1 or something now.
Yeah.
Depends on how high you sell your item.
Just to process the transaction, they will take a little bit out.
And you can see that on PayPal.
Yeah.
They do show you how much they take out. So
you can do the math, and then that way you'll know exactly what your profit's going to be.
Yeah.
So like if you spend $5 on an item, you turn around, sell it for, we'll say 40 on eBay. That drops down your that's going to drop it down to $35 because you're going to minus the 5 for what you sold it for, or for what you paid for it, not sold it for. Then they're going to take $4 out of that for their final value fee. So that's going to drop it to $31. And then they're going to take the percentage that PayPal takes out of it. So with something like that, with that item, you'd still be looking at about $28 in pure profit, which is actually really good. But just try to keep your your profit, your math, in your head, especially if you use the buy it now with offer or whatever.
Yeah.
That way like, don't just be all excited because you got somebody made you an offer. Like, try to do the math. Think to yourself, like, what's my overall profit going to be? Is it the profit margin that I want? Is it the amount that I want to make? Or am I going to lose money on it? Or am I going to break even?
Yeah. I
mean, there are certain cases where it's like an item's been sitting there forever and you're just happy to get rid of it. And sometimes, that's your decision. A lot of times I'll take that offer just to get rid of that item and just hope I break even. Another big thing that costs you money if you're not careful is your shipping. Shipping is a huge, huge thing. Know your basics of shipping. You can get onto USPS.com and it'll tell you your basic flat rates. Off the top of my head, a small flat rate box that looks like a VHS tape is $7.90 flat rate anywhere in the U.S. A medium flat rate is $14.35 anywhere in the U.S. and a large flat rate is $19.95. Excuse me. Up to 70 pounds in any one of those boxes. So that could be something that could help you. Your certain regions, you have Regional A, which I can't remember what the prices are on Regional A and Regional B since the increase. And then you got first class shipping.
Yeah, your shirts and everything will go first
class.
Yeah, they're usually about 9 ounces. Actually, and you can use poly bags.
Yeah, I highly recommend these when you do your shirts.
If you're just going to do clothing, yeah.
Yeah, your lightweight clothing.
Everything goes first class on that. Yep. And they're usually 9 ounces.
9 ounces, about $3.74 to ship it now that the price increase went up. Maybe even into $4, depending on what you get at. And with eBay, you can ship up to 16 ounces is classified first class. So I recommend you use eBay for that because if you go to the post office, they're going to cut you off at, I believe it's 12 ounces is first class. Anything over 12 is going to go up to a retail ground and it's going to be like $10 to $12 to ship it. So just remember that because you can use up to 16 ounces for like $5 something.
And for your clothes, if you really want to be nice with your customers, you can wrap your clothes in these. It's eBay tissue.
Yep.
And just wrap one of the t-shirts in it and slap it in the poly bag so it looks more professional when you're doing it.
Um, I think one of the best things you can possibly get yourself if you're going to start selling on eBay, and I highly recommend this as one of your first tools to get, is one of these. It doesn't have to be as fancy as this.
I got the other one. Here's
yeah.
what we started off with.
And this is your basic postal scale. And this is going to help you out big time. That way you know your exact weight, because as Daniel can tell you, I'm one who will just throw a flat rate out there and then I end up screwing myself over and I lose money because then I have to pay a few dollars extra for shipping, when if I would have just put the approximate weight, the seller would have had to have paid for the shipping. And I see it so frequently with where I work. People come in to ship their items and they didn't weigh it properly, or they don't have the scale at home, so they don't know the approximate weight, and they've only charged their customer like $4, and then they get it to us. We put it on the scale for them, and then all of a sudden it's like $10-11 to ship their item because they didn't weigh it properly, and they end up losing out money. I see it all the time. So like my biggest tip is to get yourself a postal scale. Make sure you have the proper weight. That way when you do your listing and you do your shipping, you put in the approximate weight, and then you can choose if you want to do it first class, priority select, retail ground. I think retail ground and priority select are the same thing.
I think we just do mostly priority.
Priority and first class.
That's all we do. And then if it needs to go bigger, then you can change it.
Yeah, and the one thing to take advantage of, if you do a book, since books are so heavy, or if you do DVD sets, anything that's kind of considered media, like CDs, cassette tapes, if you're going to ship vintage cassette tapes, VHS tapes, anything that's media like that, you can use the media rate. And the media rate is anything that is a book or media, like I just said, that does not have an advertisement in it, is classified as a media rate. The only thing you need to know about a media rate is if you're going to use a media rate, notify your customer that it is going to take a little bit longer to get there, because the media rate on average takes about 5 to 7 days. If it's within the same state as you, it should only take about 2 to 3 days, the same thing as a first class, and it's a lot cheaper. Like today I helped a lady ship off some books, and it was averaging her about $2.75 a book with the media rate. And most of them were here in California, so it was only going to take 2 days to get there. So I mean, think about that. $2.75 to ship a book. And most textbooks, although I haven't really had much luck selling textbooks on eBay, so I wouldn't really recommend it. But if you're going to sell like DVD sets, like he sold 10 seasons of CSI, and that box was what, like 12 pounds almost?
Yeah.
And if you would actually put that on a regular scale and put that in, that's about $30 or $40 to ship that. But since it was a DVD, it classified as a media rate, and it went for $10. Just no problem. $10, shipped it out. So know your shipping options. Do your research on that. That's like one of the most important things. Just do your research. Do your homework.
And when you're doing that, make sure if you can get a cheap laptop and a cheap printer. It's more cheaper if you go through eBay and do your packaging.
Yep.
Because if you go through the post office, you will not get the discount.
Yeah.
You need to get a small laptop, a cheap one, maybe from eBay or something. You can get a printer. We got a printer in the Goodwill.
$10.
$10. It's more cheaper. You get a discount. So.
And then if you're gonna do, like, when we first started out doing eBay, we were shipping a lot of coffee mugs, a lot of glassware, a lot of beer glasses, that kind of stuff.
We'll have to get into that later.
Yeah, we'll do a whole nother video on that. But the main thing is know how to package your item.
Yeah.
And learn ways where you can get packing materials for cheap or even free. For the longest time,
99-cent store?
Well, yeah, most places probably don't have 99-cent stores. If you do have a 99-cent store, you can get small rolls of bubble wrap. Check for sales on bubble wrap and at your local like Staples or Walmart. Keep an eye on those sales. Sign up for their rewards cards, their rewards club. We have a Staples Rewards. I signed us up for it. Um, but know that stuff, because
If you're at work and you're at work, if you work at somewhere where they use a lot of bubble wrap, take it.
yeah, see if
That's
you can take it.
Yeah, see if you can have it boxes. If you need boxes,
Mm-hmm.
collect many boxes you can.
Packing peanuts,
Packing peanuts.
whatever you can use. I know. There was a short period of time where we were going dumpster diving for good clean boxes. We would literally go and fish them out of the dumpster if they were good and clean, bring them home and use them to ship items. So I mean, whatever you can do to help cut costs. If you're gonna do something like like I was saying, like glasswares, make sure you wrap it properly in bubble wrap and packing peanuts. I can't count how many times we've had stuff break in the post office, and it's not because postal workers are throwing packages, contrary to popular belief. I mean, honestly, I don't think that that's part of it. I think a lot of it has to do with when your packages go through the post office, they're put on conveyor belts and there's bigger, heavier packages that come down on top of them. So make sure it's packaged so it could absorb that shock. So that way it doesn't break and your customer's happy. Because I've had several coffee mugs break because of that happening. And then I have to issue a refund to the customer. Tell them if they want, they can keep the rest of the set because I don't really want it back. Or if it's a one-off thing, then I'm really sorry. And then I have to get onto USPS.com. And here's another tip for you. You go onto USPS.com and you use their website and you file your claim. As long as you do it priority, you'll automatically get the $50 worth of insurance on it. Or if you insure it yourself, you can go into USPS.com, file the claim, have your customer, if you do get a broken item, send you a picture of the broken item, and then screenshot your, what is it? It's like your invoice. Basically, it's the details of the item that's sold. So it actually shows what the item sold for. I believe you can hit Control Alt Print Screen. Is it print screen? I think it's print screen. I think that's what it is. And it'll copy it. And then you can just paste it. I use Paint to do that. And I'll put it in Paint and then save it as a JPEG file. And then I will upload it onto the post office website. Along with the photos of the broken item that the customer sent you. And you have to have your tracking number to start it out with. So make sure you have your tracking number. Once you do all that, it's going to ask you for the sender's information and the recipient's information. And it's basically just the name and the address. And then I'll give it about 2 to 3 weeks and you should get a check in the mail from the post office and it'll cover your losses. That's how their claim system works. We've used it a few times. I actually have a couple checks up on the wall. More than a couple. But I mean, that's just lessons that you learn the hard way. Don't be afraid to spend a couple bucks on some Fragile stickers. Put Fragile stickers on it. Or if you have to get a Fragile stamp, put Fragile stamps on it. I mean, we have stamps and stickers galore in here. Just get the point across to the post office that, yes, it's fragile. Please do not break our item. I think that's
101.
That's going to do it for episode 1. Just knowing you're doing your eBay listings. Most important thing is just get out there and do the hard work. It is going to be hard work. It doesn't sound like it's that hard to snap a few photos and type up a quick listing or talk into your phone and use an auto listing or to, have it do it for you, but it is a lot of work. So don't be afraid to do the work. Alright, that'll do it for episode 1. Let us know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, give us some feedback if there's anything we missed or if you have any questions. You can hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can hit us up at pndfoundtreasures@yahoo.com. You can find that email address in our bio on here on YouTube. And I'll put it in the description for you guys so that way if you want to reach out to us, you can. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next episode.